You guys are watching the Dallas Cowboys Report. I am host Tom Downey here with a look at all of the rumors and some news items as well around the Dallas Cowboys here with training camp and preseason underway. Let's discuss Dak Prescott amid the, I'll call it the news, frankly, that he's not going to play in the preseason, or at least he's probably not likely to play, which is kind of a weird way to phrase it, but it's weird coaches, Mike McCarthy stuff. So, the Cowboys' initial plan, the one that they pushed out there, was 2 to 3 days for Dak Prescott. As we said, that was ridiculous. It was never going to happen. They did want Dak Prescott to play in the preseason. That plan has been modified, and I do think it's because they don't want to have Dak get hurt with a shoulder. I think there are some more long-term views we'll get into here as well. The thing that makes me feel better is that Dak Prescott is at least throwing at camp and in the practices. If he were not throwing at all, I'd be concerned right now. Thankfully, he's not. And frankly, Dak's had plenty of offseason reps, but no game ones. We'll go more in depth in why I think that matters here in a little bit. First, the quote, though, from head coach Mike McCarthy. Dak's status is limited. We'll just continue the throwing regimen and keep building up the volume. There's a good chance he probably won't play. So that was the quote there from Mike McCarthy. And again, the Cowboys' plan was to have Dak Prescott play against the Houston Texans. He was not going to play against the Jags. That's been made very clear. It's either against the Texans or not at all in the preseason. And on one hand, I understand it's a meaningless preseason game. You don't want to risk injury to any of your key players. Sit the guys who don't need reps. And to an extent, I do think that Dak fits that category. But I would also be lying to you if I didn't say this. I would be feeling a lot better if Dak played. Even one series, one pass, that would just make me feel a little bit better and a little bit more at ease. I'm still not panicking about Dak Prescott, for reasons we'll get into here, but yeah, I would feel at least a little bit better if Dak Prescott played even just a series against the Texans. But I also understand the desire to not jeopardize him at all. I mean, Aaron Rodgers ain't playing the preseason. Now, Dak's not peak Aaron Rodgers, but it's a similar mindset. You don't have to jeopardize your franchise quarterback. So what do you guys think here? Do you want Dak playing in the preseason? Get your votes in. Y for yes you do, or N for no you don't. Now, I do want to make this point clear too. Dak has had plenty of off-season reps. That is how the shoulder issue popped up in the first place. When Dak wasn't able to move his ankle, he was still throwing. And, of course, you're not rotating properly. It ends up getting more pressure on that shoulder. Frankly, and Mike McCarthy made this note too, the number of throws Dak's made in the offseason is really put him at more of a pace of he's already middle of the year. That's how involved he's been. The Cowboys are trying to prevent Dak from being his own worst enemy. If it was up to Dak, he'd be out there. If it was a real game, he'd be out there. But he's not out there. And because of partially that reason, I think we have to adjust our expectations. Something I've said before about this team. I think this is going to be a slow start. And look, it's going to be sloppy across the NFL, kind of always is. But this particular unit for the Cowboys, with all of their starters out there, they haven't played a game together. Has never happened. And now that's because CeeDee Lamb was a rookie last year and La'el Collins missed the entire season. But the chemistry might take a little bit of time. Also, new defensive scheme getting installed, a very difficult opening schedule. Bucs and Chargers, those are not easy games. Two very good quarterbacks they're facing against. So I expect a bit of a slow start, offensively and defensively. And I think Mike McCarthy kind of acknowledged that when he made this comment recently. Quote, I think ideally, if everybody was healthy and everything went smooth, we may have gone to a more traditional routine. Play 10, 15 plays in the first game, quarter in the second game, play the first half in the third game. Those things were all discussed, but camp doesn't always go the way you'd like it to go. And I think in an ideal world, we would have seen some reps for Dak Prescott. But especially with La'el Collins now being banged up, I'm pivoting from where I was even just 2 or 3 weeks ago. Sit them all. Don't play your important players. Seems like Amari Cooper's going to play. Not sure he needs to at this point. Sit DeMarcus Lawrence. Sit Trevon Diggs even, although he still needs some reps, but whatever. Give him like maybe a series. Sit Zach Martin. Sit Lael Collins. Sit Tyron Smith. Sit the guys you need healthy for your season. Because there's also this part the Cowboys, I think, more recently are putting more pressure on and more importance on. The Cowboys have a Week 7 bye. With the addition of an extra week to the NFL calendar, it's 11 games they're going to face, or 11 weeks they're going to be playing in a row there. And that doesn't include potential postseason stuff. That's a very long stretch where you're going to be tired. So you need to make sure that it's not so much you're operating at peak efficiency for snap 1 of week 1, but so that you're operating more along the lines of peak efficiency come snap 500, or not snap 500, maybe snap 50 of week 12. That's where you've got to be if you're the Cowboys. So I'm not panicking on Dak yet, but it is at least worth maybe being a little bit more concerned than what we were at the beginning of this whole process. Now, the MVP odds for Dak Prescott, folks, have still not changed. They've gone up from where he was before he was cleared to go for training camp. Plus 1,200. Decent odds if you think Dak's going to be good to go and going to make a push for the NFC East because he fits the mold. Big name, big player, big team, and could exceed expectations this year. That's how you often end up winning NFL MVP. So if you want to put some money down on Dak Prescott, you're our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. That link is right there, bottom of your screen. And use the promo code you see on screen as well. That is Cowboys125 for a 125% deposit bonus. Let's talk more injuries now. This time, Lael Collins. Is it minor? That is what the Cowboys will have you believe. I will give it 3 stars because I choose to believe it for my own mental health and sanity. Collins left practice Wednesday with what was termed a neck or shoulder injury. Now, the Cowboys claim it's minor, and they aren't worried, they aren't concerned, it's fine. But when the word neck starts popping up or back pops up, that raises red flags for me. I don't like that. I'm more concerned about the Lael Collins one than what I was about the Dak Prescott one that helps it puts it in reference for you guys. Collins did not play last year, had a hip issue. But when it's a neck or a back for an offense lineman or hell any player, red flags kind of start getting waved for me. So I will choose to believe the Cowboys, but they're not the most trustworthy bunch. Because in reality, Lael Collins, we went through my top 10 most important players. Collins was in that group. 2019, dude was awesome. He balled out. He was incredible. Was a top 5 right tackle in the NFL. But if he can't go, as it is the case for all offensive lines around the NFL, the depth is not where you'd like it to be because there's not great offensive line play overall. So with this in mind, what is your panic level on Lael Collins? Rate this for me on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being you're not worried at all, 10 being you're kind of melting down. And I think your panic level is tied indirectly to how you feel about the backup offensive tackles. Now, if Collins misses time, I think Ty Nsekhe gets the first shot at being the guy. And he was terrible, make no mistake about it, against the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was god-awful. Against the Cardinals, though, he was much better. A bigger sample size, did not get beat in the passing game, was better against the run in the run game as well. Overall, if Nsekhe plays like he did against Arizona, you'll be fine. It's not as good as Lael Collins. You're going to have to help out Nsekhe as well. It was better than most of Terrence Steele last year. And frankly, there's not many teams around the NFL that have the depth that the Cowboys do on the offensive line because it's terrible everywhere. But it's still not Lael Collins. So the Cowboys need him out there. So this might be, at least for me as a conservative person, shut him down. He's good. I'm done. I don't got to see Lael Collins out there anymore. He played in the first 2 preseason games. He's back. He's in good shape. Let's just roll with that. So because of that, it's just something to be at least monitoring for the Cowboys as we move forward closer to the actual games that matter. We are getting closer and closer to 100,000 subscribers here, folks, on our Dallas Cowboys YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe today. Daily free videos. And for those of you wondering, by the way, about the mac and cheese ice cream super chat. That's coming. We're going to get that done during the Hall of Fame game watch party against the Texans on Saturday. I will eat the potentially nasty mac and cheese ice cream with producer Jeremy as well. So stay tuned for that one. If you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe today for daily videos on everything going on around the Dallas Cowboys. The Jaylon Smith trade rumors somehow are back. This comes to us and floated by NFL.com, so I kind of had to mention that, right? It's like it's the NFL's official site. Greg Rosenthal said he doesn't know if Smith's going to make the team. He pitched a trade in the Joe Schobert idea of trading a player to really save some salary cap space. What is clear, and I think should be clear from the preseason in particular, is that Jaylon Smith is not linebacker 1 or 2 anymore. And he ain't linebacker 3 either. He has kind of fallen behind others, less so in terms of the starting unit, which I think you could still see Smith out there in base packages. But in terms of nickel looks, I think Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch, and Keanu Neal, when you need coverage guys out there and better blitzers, Parsons, those guys are going to be over Jaylon Smith. So that makes him, I think, really linebacker 4 right now for this team. But there's a problem here in terms of finding a partner in a Jaylon Smith trade. Namely, it's the money, which we'll go more in depth to here in a little bit. Now, Smith right now I'll list as linebacker 4, and if you want to put your Bill Cox above him, sure, okay. Jaylon Smith as a linebacker 4 does carry value. I want to make that clear. There is the opportunity for Smith to contribute to this team. But he's linebacker 4, who you're paying like a top 10 linebacker in the NFL. That's a bit of a red flag. Smith has always been a good tackler. He does that well. When he's in the right spot for run support, he normally makes the play. It's coverage, it's just not good enough. And you saw it in the preseason. He doesn't move the way that he did, even back in 2018. Those are all red flags. Is there a value to just Jaylon Smith, the player, for a trade? Absolutely. The problem is the contract. Jaylon Smith has a guaranteed $7.2 million base salary. The Cowboys would save all $7.2 million of that if they were to find a trade partner. They save $0 by cutting him. So here's my question. A Jaylon Smith who has regressed for 2 years in a row, 2018, 2019, 2020 is off the screen. Who's paying Jaylon Smith $7.2 million? That's a lot of money to bring on to a rehab player. You're trying to get him fixed and back to his normal form. You're going to restructure his contract to bring that money down, but then guarantee him more money? No, I don't really think so. So that's the problem for me. If you could find a trade partner for Jaylon, given what you've got with Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox long-term, we think, and Leighton Vander Esch and Keanu Neal short-term as well, I'd explore it. Because there is still a role for Jaylon. It's the contract value that causes the problems as it relates to the player, and not to mention the great person that Jaylon Smith is. So what would you guys do with Smith? K for keep, or type in T for trade. What would you guys choose to do with the Cowboys' controversial linebacker? Get your votes in, and maybe it's a prediction tool bit as well. Let me know what you think. K for keep or T for trade. Let's talk Josh Rosen now. I am giving this 1 star, and I don't think it happens. I wouldn't be upset if it happened. I'm also not going to cry if it doesn't. Now, the rumor origin here is you people, because you guys keep asking. I've seen so many different questions from actual media and, of course, the fans as well. For those of you who don't know, Rosen got released by another NFL team, by the Niners, and I think we have to be honest about who Josh Rosen is at this stage of his NFL career. I don't believe he's good. With that in mind, before I give my thoughts in depth here, I want to hear from you guys. Should the Cowboys go out and sign Josh Rosen? A for yes, you want to bring him in. This time it'll be different. Or B for nah, you think he's bad. Get your votes in the comment section for me right now. We have seen Josh Rosen, a top 10 draft pick, play 20 career games. That's a pretty damn good sample size. And the results, there's no way around it, guys. He sucks. Josh Rosen is not good. And I've seen the argument of, oh, well, maybe it'll be different if he's in a better situation, has more time. Josh Rosen has gone through 4 different teams since the 2019 NFL Draft. The Cardinals passed on him. They said 1 year, we're done. Dolphins had him, 1 year, we're done. Bucks had him on the practice squad for a while. Then he bails to go to San Francisco, and they say, nah, he's not the guy. Is it really going to be different for Josh Rosen on team number 5? I don't think so. I think that as someone who loved Josh Rosen coming out, I think we have to be objective and honest with what we've seen on the field. He's bad. He is not good. He's not better than Garrett Gilbert. Best case, he's a bit better than Ben DiNucci and Cooper Rush. And that's the problem. Even if Rosen is a little bit better, which I think he could be, by the time Rosen gets up to speed with the offense and the scheme, the preseason's over. So do you want to make Josh Rosen your practice squad quarterback? Sure. If that's the route you want to go, okay. Sure. I'm fine with that. Is Josh Rosen coming in and making the 53-man roster? I hope not. I hope that's not a thing the Cowboys choose to do. So I say, look, if you want Rosen, cool. But he's not going to be anything better than a maybe little bit of an upgrade than DiNucci and Rush, because Rosen is simply not good in the NFL.